This is alive from Marcellus. From Marcellus. From Marcellus. I'd like to do a meditation for this man. I'd like to know if anybody wants to join me and in helping him cross over so that he crosses over at the highest level of frequency, so that he brings about bringing him to Allah, God, the one of 1,000 names, the one who created us all. And I'd like to know how many of you want to join me in this right now as he is being forced to leave his body. So let me know if you want to join me. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 If you haven't called the White House or the governor's office, I don't care if it's tomorrow when it's too late. We need to make sure that these people understand that the will of the people always outranks the will of the few, or else they become our enemies and not our servants. And right now we're being shown that none of the things we have asked our leaders has been heard. None of it. So I'd like you to join me. I think many of us are doing circles like this all over the world for this man, where the family of the victim has been begging the governor not to put him to death. And yet still, they're gaslighting. They've decided not to listen to the will of the people. Prayers to him. Please take a moment to visualize. Don't think this can't happen to you or to a family friend or to a family member. If you could give your energy right now, instead of scrolling, or even turn the phone off, even that, turn the phone off and think of him and help him find himself home in the arms of the divine, of the one of 1,000 names, into the arms of love, unconditional love, divine love. Because we've all tried to call, we've signed petitions, everyone, including the victims' families, blatant disregard for the will of the people by our elected representative. What a shame. It's more than a shame. It's blasphemous, and I don't use that word very lightly. This man, he will live, don't worry. I sure hope so, my friend. Because so far, I've done the phone calls, I've done the petitions, I've done, and many of us have, okay? We've all doing it, because you wouldn't be here talking unless you cared. And nothing is happening. So I'm not sure what kind of games this governor thinks he's doing. I'm not sure why he thinks he's untouchable. I don't understand the kind of hate. This is, again, why I am completely against capital punishment. And it says here, 45 minutes ago, declines to pause a man's execution. That prosecutors, did you hear that? SCOTUS declined to pause a man's execution that prosecutors tried to stop. Not the defense team. The prosecutors are trying for this not to happen. The fucking prosecutors. I think we better wake up as a people, my friends. That we don't fucking matter to them. Not at all. And none of us are immune to this. It is now what time is it? It's 7:07 right now. So 45 minutes ago. So I think he's gone. And so right now, I'd like very much for you guys to just get together in your mind, in your hearts. And as the ancient Tibetans used to do, they used to drop their bodies, transcendental meditation, and help a soul leave its body so that it was not confused, not scared, and it could find itself to the divine arms of God, the divine, loving, non-judgmental arms of God. And so if you could just please close your eyes. You are much more powerful than you think. And bring him to the loving arms of God so that his trip, his journey to God is swift and filled with magic and love and joy. That is the one thing we can give this man now that we can't do anymore. Can you please do that right now? It would be happening right now. That's why I'm doing this. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 The higher people feed on our energy, if we use our energy for good, shift is to positive, he will live. The chant that I'm chanting is a chant that dissolves blockages. Do you understand? Do you understand, my friend? One of few. And so if he is meant to live, right, then this chant removes the blockages that prevent him from having received his freedom. And if he is meant to today drop his body, then it will ensure that no blockages will impede his journey. Does that make sense? There's a point where you have to understand that sometimes people are used, beautiful souls are used to shake us up. This is not the first time a man was wrongly convicted. Even a child, okay, being wrongly convicted. This is not the first time. But I think today, it could be the last time. The last time. And really, ultimately, whatever God has in mind for this soul, Marcellus Williams, whatever is in store, we have to at some point trust the timing. Do you understand? We fought for his life. We did everything we were supposed to do, right? And at some point, when you realize that the leaders aren't here to hear, they don't care what we want. They don't care what we want. They don't care what we say. They don't care anything about our opinions. People were walking into the governor's office with subpoenas. And here we are standing at the threshold of this man's death. Okay? So the countdown is upon us. And what we can do is visualize him smiling, happy, supported by divine love. And hopefully he can live. But from everything I'm reading, 13 minutes ago, Supreme Court denies Marcellus Williams' appeal to suspend execution. My fine friends, when you have prosecutors fighting for a man's life, we're talking about prosecutors. then we know we have a problem. Okay? And so the mantra that I'm chanting is to make sure that there are no impediment to his journey. Whether his journey is to be freed in the physical world, meaning returning to Godhead, or his freedom is to literally walk out of that jail and receive the millions of dollars that he would get otherwise if he was freed. And so I want to really keep the energy in focus of him and his soul, so that no matter what happens, okay, we've taken care of bringing as much high energy to him as possible. Because no matter how, I mean, look at the man's eyes. That's why I chose that photo. Look at his eyes. Does he look like... Those are gentle eyes. The eyes are the mirror of the soul. 24 years in jail on the 24th of the month. Okay? And so, if he is meant to drop his body and escape this world that really is corrupted with leaders that are absolutely corruptible and corrupted, then let's do our best to help him on his journey out of the body. Okay? That's my intention for this live. And I think a lot of us are holding sacred space for this man, and he deserves it. And the more of us concentrate on his soul, whether it is to, and we're basically putting our trust in God, because we certainly can't put our trust in our corrupted, malignant, narcissistic leaders across the world. That's obvious. So we need to put our faith in God, Allah, the one of 1,000 names, the one who created us all. And we have to trust what's about to happen. And we have to trust that there's a higher purpose to it. So let's not waste the energy to push against a corrupted system. And let's ask ourselves, why is this man being used by divine source as a lesson? Okay? So far, the word is 13 minutes ago, it was denied. I feel like fucking crying. Yeah, he's going to be executed. And it's probably in a few minutes now. With all the evidence that actually supported him, and it was denied. It's insane. I've never seen anything so egregious. So maybe as an American people, okay, maybe it's time for us to look at corporal punishment, because I've seen pedos, serial pedos do massive destruction of children's souls. And they were convicted with absolutely no doubt that they had done the acts. And they get out in 5 years, 10 years. Some of them even get just probation. So what does it say about our country that we have capital punishment? And even though the prosecuting team is supporting in his release and the stay of execution, I mean, this is still blowing my mind. The fact that the prosecutors are fighting for this man's life, the family of the victim are fighting for this man's life, and the governor will not budge. Where's Kamala? Where's Trump? Where's Kamala? Where's our leaders? Where's President Biden? Where are these fucking people? What the fuck are they doing with their time? Are they all having a nice dinner? Are they at a cocktail party? Are they completely unbothered by this bullshit? The first thing we need to do as Americans is banish capital punishment. Banish it. Absolutely banish it, because of this kind of fuckery. And this kind of fuckery is just beyond. So they're not going to stop, okay? We can, doesn't look like they're going to stop it. They've worked very hard to stop it. And so let me ask you, can you take a moment of silence Can you take a moment? Can you be patient? Can you not scroll? Can you not just scroll and get entertained? This is not entertainment. This is a man's life. So instead of scrolling, find the page that actually honors him, mine or someone else's, and take 2 minutes of your monkey mind to actually give him your energy, your whole entire body, your whole entire energy to help him cross over so that it's done well. So he drops his body fast and well. Okay? That's what I'm asking. I'm asking you to take a few moments to just do that. Because this is not entertainment. Because if you think you're untouchable and that can't happen to you, to your child, or to a friend, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. So, if we could take 2 minutes, and let me just say to you 1 minute. In 2 minutes of silence, I'll be lucky to have one person standing with me. But I'm going to do it because I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to give energy to him. Let's begin. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's unbelievable. It's interesting how we are against Roe versus Wade, right? But we won't fight for the life of a human being. It's funny how we totally believe capital punishment is okay, right? That's okay. I thought we were a country of you had to have undeniable proof of someone's guilt. I thought we were a people who stood for justice. I didn't know that justice was only for the 1%. I thought justice was for everyone. When you have a prosecuting team fighting to keep a man's life alive, and when they know that the man is innocent and you've got a governor just signing off a death sentence like that. And when many of you signed the petitions, many people all over the world signed the petition to keep him alive. And when not one, not Biden, not Trump, not Kamala, none of them stood up. And I have to say that when our leaders are that corrupted, we have to ask ourselves what the fuck we're doing. What are we voting for? What are we fighting for? What are we doing in this country that we feel it's okay to have capital punishment used to punish an innocent man? How does that work? Are you glad it's not you? Are you glad it's not your son, your father, your uncle, your best friend? Are you relieved? Or are you realizing that this can happen to anyone? Yes, what the fuck is going on? And the level, and I'm just going to say, the level of racism that's involved in this decision is smacking us in the face. And this country better start having the dialogue about racism and some of the shit that's been going on in the South. And I'm going to be straight up with you. Until the Confederate flag is outlawed, like that German flag in the World War II, until that fucking happens, this shit's going to keep happening. Okay? Wake the fuck up. Death penalties are abolished in Europe and the UK. It's abolished for this reason. The fact that we are taking a man who has been claimed innocent but by the prosecuting team, the families of the victim, a journalist who was burglarized, a woman, her family has begged the governor a stay of execution. When the family is begging, when the prosecuting team is begging, what is the governor doing? Are they trying to start some kind of riot? Are they trying to set up a Rodney King situation? Is that what the goal is? Ask yourself how we're being manipulated and why. Okay? Why? That's my question. Why? Any questions? Please, smart comments, please, not stupid ones, okay? Yes. Well, that's my point, Deshaun. What is happening here? What is happening here? Because during Black Lives Matters, we saw the Boston cops with the bricks, didn't we? Didn't we see that video during COVID, the lockdown? Are they trying to make us enraged? Are they trying to do a divide and conquer tactics? What is this all about, my friends? You see, I don't just use my platform to fucking throw tarot. Okay? When you have a platform, your responsibility as a human being is to speak out against injustice, because if you think this is okay, then please scroll on. If you think the Confederate flag has a right to be stuck in trucks, on property in this country, then you should think about it again. When we actually abolish racism for all people, not just one type of people, all people, when racism becomes outlawed in the land of this country, when we start actually having real dialogue about racism, real honest dialogue, which include the Japanese internment camps, which includes what we did to the Native Americans in reservations, when we get fucking real, then this country will become great again. When we can take a man who was innocent, proclaimed innocent by the I'm repeating myself, prosecuting team and the family of the victim, this journalist, begging for the governor of a state when no matter what, they just want to go with the machine through the meat grinder of a system that is malignantly narcissistic. You better start asking yourself some questions. I didn't think I'd say this, because no matter what you think, I was never going to vote for Kamala. And for her to say nothing proves again what she was doing in San Francisco, incarcerating black men. From the flick of her pen, remember her quote? From the flick of my pen, I can, even if you're innocent, I can ruin a person's life. Well, how about from the flick of your pen, you could have saved this man's life? And you chose not to, from the flick of your pen. Remember that little speech? And you women who want to vote for him, think this woman, Jill Stein, actually is the only one running who actually was making phone calls to do a stay of execution. Jill Stein. I never thought I'd mention her name because I was never going to vote for her. She's the only one that fucking called. Did you know that? Have we gotten an update? At 8 p.m. Oh, my stomach is in knots over this. No, I'm looking for, I just looked up Jill Stein. I know was trying to get a state of execution for him. And I'm looking and looking and looking. And I'm not getting anything. All I know is they weren't going to stop it. So we have to put our faith in the one of 1,000 names, God. We have to trust that if he's a sacrificial lamb, Marcellus Williams, then let's not make it so we forget about him in a month because of P. Diddy's trials. Let's not make P. Diddy overtake this. Because you see, this is important. This is the most important thing because at some point we're going to, as a people, make some humane decisions, fair decisions to abolish capital punishment. The death penalty should not even be. This is 21st century, my friends. What the fuck are we still doing this for? You don't think spending the whole life in jail you don't think that's enough? You don't think that's enough? Youngest death penalty in the USA. Let's look at the youngest. Let's see how bad they are. Oh, yes. George Steiny Jr., a 90-pound, 14-year-old boy. Electric chair in, good old South Carolina. Good old boys. Good old Confederate flag. Wave that flag, my friends. Wave it high. 14 years old, the kid did nothing. Did you ever see that picture of him on that chair? No updates. No updates. 40 minutes ago, 47 minutes ago, 1 hour ago. I hope to God this man walks out and I hope he gets $100 million for the shit they put this man through. Maybe that's also what it's about. They don't want to pay the tab. Do you ever think of that? Maybe they don't want to pay the bill. Maybe he's on maybe this slanderous governor is on maybe he's on the phone with the VP. This would be good for Kamala if she wants to win. To get on the fucking phone with the governor and say, don't do anything, let the man go. That would be good for her. That would be actually probably the best move she could make on a PR move. Because you see, these politicians are always looking for an opportunity for PR. Because it's never for people. Yeah, the tab would be massive. Maybe it's cheaper to just, cheaper. Because the family, and how many members does he have in his family? Who knows, right? They said CNN confirmed he's dead. I figured. That's why we did. Thank you, my love, Juliet, for sharing that. But she's not going to do that, Juliet. I know about her, Juliet. I used to work and live in San Francisco. I'm her contemporary. I know all about her. That's why you women better stop thinking about, I just want a woman president that's of color. Yeah, you better wake up. You better wake up. All of us better wake the fuck up. Because this is, let's not make this, right? This man, here, let's look at his eyes. Look at those eyes. Trust what you see in those eyes, because they don't lie. Eyes don't lie. They never lie. They never lie. Do you see evil in his eyes? What do you see in his eyes? Think about it. Okay? He's gone. Family needs to sue. These people need $100 million and therapy for life. The victim's family, because you see, they want to find the people who actually took their beloved away, you see. They want to find the real culprits. They found hair that wasn't his and blood that wasn't his. How the fuck do you end up in death row with that? No, talk to me like I'm 12, because I really want you to tell me, how does that work? I just saw it's confirmed on Google that he's been executed. His eyes are soft and loving. First thing I noticed. Thank you, Rachel. Therapy for life. But we need therapy as a people. White people, black people, brown people, yellow people, red people, blue people, purple, rainbow people. We need therapy. Because if you don't think racism doesn't affect all of us, you're wrong. It affects all of us. Because many of you who are white in this incarnation feel guilt, and you resent feeling that guilt. And black people feel rage, and brown people are under the radar sometimes, and they feel frightened. We're all frightened. And that's exactly what they want. They want us in fear. Okay? It's a wrongful death case on the state's hands. They're stupid for actually. So I'm going to tell you something. Do not fall into the hands of the puppet masters. Okay? This is not the time to hit the streets and go crazy. Because that's what they're doing. Do you see? That's why we've got 2 men who were found with ropes around their neck in the last, less than 2-3 weeks ago? Wink, wink, right? So what they're trying to do is instigate. They're trying to pick a fight with us. And we better not fall into that trap. What we need to do is become stealth. We need to be like ninjas. What does that mean? It means we need to use the law against them. We need to actually work in creating new bills. We need to go in droves in November and vote. And vote all of these MFers out. And get people who have absolutely no experience in politics. None. Look at how quick OAC flipped on her back. We need people who actually don't give a shit about money. Not at all. They don't care about money. They care about justice. They care about their karma. And I never thought I'd say this, but where was Trump? Where was Biden? Where's Kamala? She's a woman, right? Oh my God, nurturing heart. Where's Kamala? Where is she, Kamala? I thought you loved people. You loved your people, right? You're supposedly half black. No comments, Kamala? Nothing? Here, let me look if Kamala said anything about this. Kamala on mic. Has she said anything, guys? Has she said anything? You guys know? Any comments? I mean, I could see Joe Biden. He's all said. Let me see if she said anything. Yep, nothing. So you want to vote for her again? You want to vote for someone who actually doesn't give a shit about people? That doesn't believe in the individual? It takes a village, my friends. It takes a village. And this shit's not going to fucking fix itself. So we're going to have to learn how to use their game and then change the rules of the game. In courts of law, like the NAACP had to do. With Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall was an attorney who actually was going into the Southern belts, to right the wrongs and to change the Jim Crow laws. And it took many people, Malcolm X. It took Martin Luther King. It took Jewish, whites, Hispanics walking together, marching, women, gays, marching together. But I think what we need to do now is actually start taking offices of power. We need to start running for mayor, governor, controller, whatever. Don't be fucking shy, my friends, because if you won't do it, then this will be here another 25 years. We'll see another man or woman found innocent, going through this kind of injustice. This is a stain on our karmic energy of this country. This country has to stop being so unjust. Karma never misses its mark, and we do not want to be the fall guy for the incompetence of these leaders. So I never thought I'd say, I'm looking at Jill Stein. Because you see, I look at people's actions, not what they promise, what they do. And apparently she's been hitting the phone trying to get this man released. Never thought I'd say that, but I'm saying it now. Yeah, none of them. Not Trump, not Kamala, not Biden. None of them. None of them. No, not other governors in other states. No one said a fucking word. You know who said something? You guys did. All of you fucking went to the governor's office, filled out the paperwork, made calls to, I called the White House. You know what? Didn't give a shit. Didn't give one fuck when I said what I was calling about. Cool. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, but we're being asked, God, the angelic realm, are asking us not to sit this one out. Okay? But that doesn't mean hit the streets with violence. Please don't do that, because that's stupid. Because it's never worked. It's a temporary fix that'll last maybe 3 or 4 days, and then everything goes back to quote unquote normal. We don't want that. What we want is political change through the political system. That means you got to get off your ass. Don't be shy, my friends. And many of you were like, well, I don't know. I mean, those are the leaders we want. Those who say, I don't know. The humble ones. The ones that are humble, like you. I don't know about you, but this, and I never thought it, terrifies me. Terrifies me that a person can make mistakes, right? He must, I don't know if he had a rap sheet. I really don't know about him. I'm embarrassed to say I don't know about him. Maybe he had a rap sheet. I don't know. Okay? I don't know enough about him. All I knew is I was on the phone trying to get this stopped. But let's say you have a rap sheet, right? And somehow they find a way to put you on a scene that you were never at. And that's what happened to this man. Listen to this. I'm going to read this to you. This is from Reuters. Reuters. Not some fucking whacked out paper. Reuters. In court papers. Bell questioned the reliability of the 2 main trial witnesses, concluded that prosecutors improperly excluded black jurors on the basis of race, and noted that new testing found no traces of Williams' DNA on the murder weapon. Subsequent tests reveals DNA on the knife from a prosecutor and an investigator who worked on the case and handled the weapons without gloves. What? The contamination of the knife led prosecutors and William attorneys to reach an agreement in August, calling for him to enter a no contest plea and receive a sentence of life imprisonment. But Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey objected, and the state Supreme Court blocked the deal at his request. One man, Attorney General Andrew Bailey, objected, and the state Supreme Court blocked the deal at his request. How the fuck can one man do that? From the flick of his pen, like Kamala Harris said, from the flick of my pen, I can make someone's life miserable, even if they're innocent. Wow, those words. A state judge upheld the conviction earlier this month, finding that the lack of evidence on the knife was not enough to establish his innocence. The Missouri Supreme Court affirmed that decision on Monday. Governor Parson, a Republican, also turned down Williams' request for clemency on Monday. Bravo. We look like fucking assholes. If you think the rest of the world isn't looking at us like we're barbaric, you fucking think again. No court, no jury, including at the trial appellate and Supreme Court levels, have ever found merit in Mr. Williams' innocent claims. He said in a statement, at the end of the day, his guilty verdict and sentence of capital punishment were upheld. Williams' attorney Tracy Rojo Bushnell of the Midwest Innocence Project noted in a statement that Gailey's family opposes Williams' execution. Missouri is poised to execute an innocent man, an outcome that calls into question the legitimacy of the entire criminal justice system, she said. We look like assholes to the rest of the world. We look like the barbarians that we are. Until the Confederate flag is outlawed, until racism is outlawed, we don't have a shot in hell to actually kumbaya. We don't have a shot in hell. I wish I wasn't right, my friend. I wish to God I was wrong, Phoenix Fire. I wish the fuck I was wrong. I have lived in this country since I was 14. My father fought in World War II as an American soldier in Europe. I have a right to fucking say that this is shit. I have a right. Purple Heart, Silver Star. I have a fucking right. I'm his daughter. And we better start demanding and not asking. Roe versus Wade. Oh my God. Oh no, we can't take a life. Oh no, but let's take a grown-ass man. That makes a lot of sense. Let's run to the BEL, and yeah, Yeshua would really be proud of you all. You all really be proud of those people who are actually fighting Roe versus Wade. But the life of a man who has eyes like this, look at the picture, look at his eyes. That's why I close up. Look at those eyes. You don't get eyes like that if you're a barbarian. I remember seeing pictures of Noriega, fucking barbarian. Idi Amin, barbarian. Ted Bundy, barbarian. Those are not the eyes of a barbarian. This is not the eyes of a killer. And we have been looking at how we as the 99% have been treated again and again and again and again. And this was the final one. Yeah, they took him out. He's gone. And that's why we did a 2-minute meditation. And for those of you that stayed with me while we did it, because, let's entertain ourselves. Let's look at the dancing girls. Let's look at cleavages and bimbos, because that's more important right now. Right? This is the most horrific thing I think I've ever... Because you see, before what would happen, so I grew up with capital punishment, living in this country. And so we would see this happen, and then like 5 years later or 20 years later, they'd exonerate the person who had long been gone because of DNA evidence. But I never thought I would see the day where DNA evidence cleared the guy. The prosecution wants this to be, the family, the victim's family wants to stop. The whole country, actually the whole world, is up in arms wanting to stop it. And none of us mattered. And the people we look up to lead us, not because we look up at them, because long ago we stopped looking up to them, but because we have no choice. They're our leaders. Didn't make one public statement about it while many of you were fucking going crazy trying to get this man's execution to be stopped. Says a lot about our leaders and everything. They're not connected to us. And so right now I'm visualizing Kamala and Trump and Biden having at a cocktail party, having a wonderful dinner, wonderful conversations. Not even a bleep on the screen for them. Meanwhile, some of you guys are sick to your stomachs. Says a lot about the disparity. So you've got reptilians and you've got this shit. This is infuriating. May his soul rest in peace. Agreed. The evidence was there. Let me look at what... Rachel, you're spot on. They're trying to get POC to not be able to vote by... Totally. Don't get in any legal trouble. They're trying to stop us from being able to vote by inciting crime. Exactly. Bravo. Don't get into any legal trouble. They're trying to stop us from being able to vote by inciting crime. All the signatures don't do anything. Fuck, man. Exactly. That's crazy. Exactly. None of this. Do you understand? So what that means is signatures, phone calls to the White House, phone call to the... By the way, the governor's phone, the voicemail was filled. Okay? No one could leave a message. They didn't even... In other words, they're not listening to the voicemails, the phone numbers, the plea for mercy. So here's the thing. Here's the thing you got to understand. That doesn't mean you don't matter. It means that the 1%, a small group of assholes, they don't matter. And so it's time to fire them in November. And it's time to make sure that your vote counts. And it's time for you guys to pull out your fucking phones and become the journalist, feet on the ground, boots on the ground. Meanwhile, Putin, just on the side note, because I need to mention that, because this is, Putin is giving, did you guys know that? He's giving an open door to any American who wants to move to Russia. This is on the side note. That's how stupid we look. We are not the most powerful nation in the world anymore. And so let's make sure that this man, Marcellus Williams, his death is not for naught. Let's not forget that at Christmas, Thanksgiving. Oh, Marcellus Williams, his death is not for naught. Let's not forget that. And Chris Smith, Thanksgiving. Oh, Marcellus Williams, his death is not for naught. Let's not forget that. And Chris Smith, Thanksgiving. Oh, yes, let's celebrate Columbus. Let's celebrate. Because that's exciting. Yeah? Does that make sense? Let's not do that. Let's just have fun. Let's not forget this man. Because he's a symbol of massive change. Don't get like in the P. Diddy, Jaguar Wright, if you want to study and go back to anything back in time, look at Tupac. When he was saying this is a young man, 23 years old. 1993 he's being interviewed, I believe. And he's saying there's something wrong where there's so many people who are homeless and starving and so many people who are billionaires. There's something wrong. How can they go to bed at night knowing that this is happening? Today we have the news that you've got people that are about to hit the $1 trillion mark and won't fucking, where was Kim Kardashian? Do you remember in 2018 when she was going to Trump and getting people out of jail? Do you remember that? Where the fuck was she? We don't even know who to trust now. No, yes, you do. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. They think by doing this, it will get them to... They think by doing this, it will get them to be voted in again. To be honest with you, there are a lot of weird things happening and a lot of people in power that should not be in power that are part of some weird-ass groups. Convention of the States, so this never happens again. I agree. They don't focus on that. We basically, honestly, we have to look. It's very simple. When you have a foundation of a house that was built in 1776, right, and the foundation is broken, right? So what do? Do you keep building on top of that rotten foundation that's going to collapse, or do you literally, rebuild a new foundation with new rules of engagement? There's nothing wrong with reassessing our system and saying, this is broke, we better fucking fix it, right? And it won't happen with the old guards that we have, these old, tired men and women. And don't think that because they have your same melanin color, they're for you. We saw that at the UN when they were voting against ceasefire. Let's not play those games. We're going to have to do better. And we better start really, really actually trusting each other. Trusting we as a people, black, white, caramel, blue, red, yellow, we better start trusting each other. We better. Because if we don't, divide and conquer is going to continue and continue. And in 100 years from now, you will lose your right to even speak. Look at what's happened to Afghanistan with the women. They're not even allowed to talk in public. And you think it can't happen to you? If I had told you in 2018 that they were going to lock down 3/4 of the world, would you have believed me? Well, it fucking happened. And they masked us like dogs. We were muzzled like dogs. Would you have believed me? Oh, well, because you might get sick. I've talked to nurses who traveled during that time. I know a lot about this, a lot more than you think. And they wouldn't let anyone go in to see their beloved or to advocate. So this man's passing. Yes, he was a Muslim man. Does it matter now? Because he's no longer Muslim. Because in past lives, he might have been Buddhist. He might have been a woman. He might have been a man. You're talking to the wrong chick about that. He was a Muslim man and he found peace in the Quran. But right now, does it matter? This is the other thing we better understand. Yes, he did, Kenny. He passed. His life was stolen from him. They will crumble. Rome crumbled, and Rome was 500 years. It was 500 years it didn't crumble. It was older than this fucking country. So it's a matter of how, It doesn't have to crumble. It can actually be healed. But the first thing we need to do as a people in America, as Americans, is stop with the racist games and be fucking honest with yourself about your racism. Let's not talk about, black people can't be racist. That's bullshit. White people, well, I'm not racist. I have black friends. That's bullshit. It's all bullshit. So until we get really honest about how we see each other, That's when we'll heal. Until then, this kind of injustice, these two young men that were found with ropes around their necks, it's going to continue. Okay? Okay, because it's no joke. I was just stating it's seeing his last words, I bring no defensive behavior. Sorry about that. It's not you, it's me. Racism exists on all sides. Absolutely, it does. Racism is a cancer upon our asses as a people. I'm going to give you some context so you really understand how bad this country has been to its many, many Americans. When World War II happened, and you probably don't know California, but I'll explain it to you. From Monterey, California, all the way to Pebble Beach, Japanese owned all that land. They were the fishermen, right? They owned all that land. So when World War II happened, they were all grabbed and put in concentration camps. Okay? When it was over, they were released, and eventually, I believe it was in 70s or 80s, they got a stipend of $40,000. The property is worth billions of dollars. When they took away the ability for the Native Americans to roam their lands and put them in reservations, and grabbed their children and took away their language and their ability to, grow long hair and all of that, they destroyed their very soul. In fact, I did a study on that. When you take a person's language, their religions, their belief, it destroys the soul, the person's identity in this incarnation. It's done by design. They know that. And so this beautiful soul that just actually, whose life was stolen by a ratchet governor and a ratchet, malignant, narcissistic system, where injustice prevails on the land, on this beautiful land. It's a beautiful country. America is a beautiful country. But we should not tolerate racism ever again, because this is the mark of racism. This is not okay. And capital punishment should be abolished. It's gotten extremely worse. Well, yeah, because it's rising, because now they're in the police, they're judges, they're attorneys, they're in the government. People are blinded by other things. They use our SNN as credit cards and switch up accounts to enslave people. Well, I mean, jails for profit. For-profit jails, okay? It's a new form of slavery. Let's be honest, okay? There's a number they need to keep. They got contracts. They got contracts. You know that. And the games, incarcerating people for 20 years for pot. That was in the 50s, 60s, 70s. But the capital punishment has got to end. I hope you guys understand. Because none of the pedos are getting this treatment. You guys realize that, right? When was the last time you heard of a pedo getting this? Now, go back in your mind. Serial, Killers, yes. Ted Bundy, yes, absolutely. I believe, right? Am I correct? But I've never seen a pedo get the death penalty ever. Have you? And pedos can go through 100 children, 200 children, 500 children, 1,000 children in a lifetime. You want to call it a serial? It's a serial killer of the soul. Because when that happens to a human being, some never recover. Justice has been served, good riddance. Well, then you know what, my little stupid friend cowboy? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you to actually enjoy your stupidity. I do not want you here at all. What an absolute fool. And then you've got idiots like this. You've got Sasquatch cowboy. Justice has been served, good riddance. When you have people who can't see what everyone could see, it makes you understand why. And I hope I don't lose you, but if I do, I don't care. Why Gaza is still going on. Why Gaza is still going on. Okay, and we've all hit the streets. We've all tried. We've called our representatives, and we've asked and we've begged. Meanwhile, we have American soldiers, veterans from Iraq, from Vietnam to Iraq to the Korean War to the fucking Afghanistani war, who are right now sleeping in tents, and they will sleep in tents this winter. Oh, well, there's shelters. The shelters are more dangerous than being on the street sometimes. We've allowed our veterans to be fucking homeless. We have women and children who are homeless. Your money is going to destroy innocent lives. And they want to pick a fight. So they want complete riot and chaos in this country, and he was the sacrificial lamb. The writing's on the wall. Any fool can take, my God, I didn't even know about this guy until a week ago, to be honest. Within 10 minutes of typing into Google, you will see everything I just told you about this man. It doesn't take a long time. So this is by design, to create chaos. By design. Be careful. We have to, thank you, my love, Letty. I appreciate that. They might be the bottom feeders, my friend, but we are actually being victimized by them. Do you understand? We are talking about immigrants and cats and dogs and this and that. And have you noticed how they are throwing everything in the kitchen sink as we approach November 6th? Have you noticed that? I was just talking about this today. That is quite something, isn't it? Those are the conversations I've been listening a lot about. And you might, the Diddy thing, knowing that they were trying to actually turn our heads from left to right to distract us from the kind of fuckery they're planning. So it's okay to have indignant rage. It's actually okay. But what I'm going to ask all of you to do, because all of your voices are critical to the shift of the new earth. Okay? All of you have the power to write about how your feelings about this, or to do a video or vlogging about how this impacted you, how this is important, how capital punishment is barbaric, and that they took an innocent man's life to enrage us into chaos. And we're not going to fall for it this time. Never again will we be their puppets. Never again. They can kiss our asses. And they will. Because how we're going to organize is by making moves in the political system. We are going to use their sword against them. Politically, that is. Politically. So rest in paradise, an innocent man. God bless you. God bless you for saying that. I want to thank you so much, you know. I know this is weird because I am a tarot psychic reader. And when I did the 2-minute meditation, I'm going to tell you what I felt. My cheeks were very red. My cheeks never get red. They never get warm. And I felt the heat of the anticipation of him. And then I tilted my head back in surrender. And then suddenly I felt this incredible explosion of calm. He dropped his body swiftly and well. The light beings, the angelic realms were waiting for him. In fact, it's almost as if he dropped his body before they put their hands on him. In other words, before they injected him. He had already dropped his body. It felt as if it was a swift journey, a good journey, and he is in the best place he can be. Because to be honest with you, he's better off where he is than to be in a world, in a country that allows this kind of injustice and slaps our faces with the overwhelming evidence that he was an innocent man and proceeds business as usual. We're open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. We're dealing with machines. We're dealing with reptilian minds. We're dealing with reptilian minds that thrive and suck this up with relish. They love your toxic rage. Make sure it's indignant, righteous rage. They thrive in despair and depression. Make sure you do not fall into despair and depression and a feeling of powerlessness. It's the last thing you want to do is let them feed on your energy of despair. Do not despair. The reason why they're throwing us everything in the kitchen sink is because we're that close to the ascension, the new earth. That's why. That's actually why. They're afraid of us. That's why. Maui, Oprah Winfrey, passing out pillows and blankets. Money doesn't make you happy. It doesn't bring you happiness. Children missing. Generations of Hawaiians losing their home that they've had for hundreds of years. So Oprah can, expand her gates. Bravo, Oprah. Thank you for getting America to read books. We better do better. I'm so sick of this. Where is truth anymore? Within your heart, Bobby. Truth is within your heart. You know the truth because, Bobby, if you didn't believe in the truth, you wouldn't be listening to me or people like me right now talking about the beauty of this man who deserved a chance. Look at his eyes. Why do you think I closed up like that? I wanted you to look at his eyes. You can't lie like that. Eyes don't lie like that, not like that. They don't. So, where is the truth anymore? In your heart, Bobby. Trust your heart. Your heart is the only compass of truth you can ever trust. Never trust your monkey mind. Never trust your mind. It will always lie to you because it's the false ego. Trust your heart. It's the compass of truth. It's the seed of your soul. It will never lie. Yes, he's been caught robbing, and he was robbing on the same street, but was anyone but that girl harmed? That was it. I mean, one life is one life. I'm not going to... Every life is a massive loss. Every life is a massive loss. But we have to understand that sometimes, and you all know that to be true, it is your time to die, and nothing can stop it. And sometimes it's through violence, car accidents, heart attacks, cancer, self-harm, right? We're all going to die of something, my friends. But what we can't allow is capital punishment to exist anymore. Don't you think that's enough now? It's been used to abuse people, to bring fear. And here's the thing, and anger and despair. This is man's sacrifice to us, right? This man, Marcellus. This man's death, the violation of his right to live and breathe as you and I do right now, is a sign that we have toxic elders, parents, narcissistic, malignant sickos, psychopaths, sociopaths in power. And we can decide to continue to allow it, or we can actually start having massive dialogues. A lot of what was happening during COVID lockdowns is a lot of you guys became journalists, boots on the ground, serving up the bullshit. So many of us woke up. In fact, many of you woke up during that time. Many. And so this is another wake-up call. Because here we have P. Diddy, as a contrast of absolute debauchery. And when you look at his eyes compared to this man's eyes, Marcellus's eyes. Look at the difference in consciousness. We see how many of it's no color. See, we need to stop the racism. The 1% isn't a white 1%. It's a 1% made up of multiple colors of people, multiple races, multiple religions. Stop thinking it's a white thing. It's not a white thing. It's a 1% thing. And we better band as brothers and sisters and celebrate our diversity. Because you have really small little worms waving their Confederate flags in every aspect of our government today. Okay? Because they have an agenda. I can see it is in his eyes. Yes, he's been caught. Okay, why I will vote Trump because he wants peace with no wars. Well, you know, I'm going to tell you something. I'd rather vote for Trump than Kamala, but Jill Stein was the only one who made phone calls. He was sacrificed, but the government is still the same. Trump is doing right. Where was his phone call? He got what he deserved, and Miss Gale has gotten her justice. Okay, Letty, please block him, if you don't mind, if you're still there. Please block. I don't have the patience. Death to Marcel 6 is coming. You know, let me explain to you very quickly before you block him. Death, since your name is Death. The karma of the words you've just said is really interesting. Karma is a really funny thing. I'm a psychic. I actually do this for a living. And I get to see karma in full action from my clients all over the world. Beware of what you wish, my friend. Beware of what you wish. Because you, the boomerang of the shit you just said, never misses his mark. Never. Karma never misses. So death to Marcel 6 is coming. Enjoy your prayers. Because you were praying for the wrong fucking thing. And you, my friend, will see that happen. Okay? You will see what's going to happen to you. Okay? Enjoy. Do you see the consciousness? You see the consciousness we're dealing with? Except the victim's family didn't want him executed. I can't believe this was allowed to happen. It wasn't allowed to happen, my lover. My beautiful Christo. Do you know why it wasn't allowed? Because none of us allowed it. We all hit the streets. We all went to the governor's office. We wrote petitions. We called. We made phone call after phone call. It wasn't allowed. They went against the majority's wishes. Majority always wins, right? We are here to represent the people of America. Really? How? We've asked you to stop. We've asked ceasefire. We've asked you to bring our billions of dollars back to the streets of this country. We've begged you not to keep sending money to these ingrates. We've asked you to not send money to people who are trying to pick a fight to start a World War III. We've begged you. And yet here we are. So this is the final, you know, sometimes they say this, the straw that broke the camel's back. Block. These people make me sick. They do not care about the people. No, they don't. They do not care about the people. And that there you go. That's the message we need to understand. Okay? It is not a skin color thing now anymore. Okay? They've been using the divide and conquer of blacks against whites and Mexicans against blacks and whites and Asians against, I mean, oh my God, please stop. Please don't do this. Don't jump into that bandwagon of divide and conquer. They're afraid of us. I don't care if you're fucking blue or green. You know what I loved about Gene Roddenberry in Star Trek in the 1960s? Is America ready for a white man to kiss a black woman? Wow, I guess they were. We need to stop the racist bullshit because it is going to destroy this country. This country can't take any more abuses like this. Not abuses of capital punishment. That should be off the table permanently forever. Permanently, forever. And by the way, one governor, I won't say his name, because that video is gone. One governor said, we needed Roe versus Wade removed because we need workers. Did you ever think of that? They need workers. They need unwanted babies in droves. I guess cloning isn't that cheap, so they still need us to have babies. It's all distraction and a planned device to keep us separated. Exactly. Deji Khalid is a Palestinian American, and he has not once mentioned the injustice of his people. I stopped following him and listening to his music or any music that he has produced. Well, I mean, why would he say anything if that's going to harm his bank account? Why would he say anything? Clearly, he's not saying anything. That should tell you about the power of these one percenters. If you say anything against them, that's it. Lights out. Your bank account's going to be drained. Suddenly all that money's gone. That's what they did to Tupac. Did you guys know that? He died broke. The cars he was driving, the houses, the mansion he owned was not under his name. Did you guys know that? We need to understand it has never been about race. But the 1% has used race for centuries. Look up Willie Lynch's speech. Look it up. Look it up. It's a real thing, but people deny it, but it's a real thing. It actually happened. Exactly. He cares more about his money. Of course he does. It's hard to say no to, $100 million. It's hard to say goodbye. It's hard. Or whatever the hell he's got in his bank account. And the irony is he might not even have it in his bank account. That's the other thing. He might have the delusion that he actually has that money, but in the flick of a switch, it can disappear. Tupac was so advanced and they were so scared of him. They were so scared of Tupac. So scared of him. That man was an angel. I'm not kidding. Please, I want to ask you something. Is racism going to help us advance into the new earth? Do you really think this is the answer? Is capital punishment, vibrationally speaking, going to help us advance as a people? Do you really think so? Do you really think that racism against the color of your skin is going to actually reflect the content of who you are within your soul? Do you really think a Chinese person, a Korean person, a black person, a Hindustani person, a Pakistani person, a Muslim person, a Christian person, a Jewish person, do you really think that we are so different? Why is it that we've allowed the 1% to play us like idiots? Why are we allowing that? And that's why they're doing what they're doing in the South with those two men they found with ropes around their necks. And one was a teenage boy, by the way, not men. One was 21. One was 17. And now this. And meanwhile, we have, P. Diddy, who's a piece of shit. And he's part of the 1%. Epstein, Weinstein, Oprah, all of them, they're pigs. Have you noticed that Vin Diesel has dropped out of the picture about 5, 6, 7 years ago? He dropped out. Have you noticed that? Once Rock got involved in his picture deals? It's not a race thing. It's a 1% thing. And the 1% will bring all kinds of different races and religions into their ranks. And the one commonality they have is evil. That's it. They agree on one thing, to subjugate the masses, and they are evil. They come in all shades and colors and religions. And once we understand that as a people, game over. Game fucking over. Only love can bring about the new earth. Loving one another, understanding one another. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look who his peers are. Jay-Z and Diddy, exactly. Look into his eyes. I can't help but cry. My heart cannot handle such injustice. Exactly. Do you see those eyes? He's gone. He's gone. I called an hour before his execution. I called the White House and I called the governor, and the governor's phone's voicemail was full. I think that we've had so much. See what happens when you have capital punishment, when you have injustice, when you see Rodney King. And remember Rodney King? That was the first time we saw injustice in action on camera. It was not even about a story anymore. I remember my beloved, who was in jail at 19, knew a man, an African-American man. My beloved was Irish white, okay, whatever that means, but just to put it in context. And he went into jail for some stupidity, probably pot, and came across an African-American man who was innocent, And he asked him, well, why are you here if you're innocent? He said, well, when you're 16 years old and someone and a cop puts a pew-pew in your mouth, you sign the confession, don't you? That's exactly what we've been dealing with for a long time. Hello. The problem with us as Americans is that we do this and we cry and we are angry and then it's over. And that's exactly my point. It's not fucking over. If you allow this to be over, if you allow this man's death to be over next year and it's, oh, Happy New Year, it's 2025, and you think 2025 is going to be good, you will see another 20 years of bullshit and you will not know how to recover. You will fucking be in your 60s or you will be in your 40s or you will, whatever the fuck age you'll be, and you will look at this country literally crumble to its knees because of its toxic leadership, which is what happened to Rome. Learn from history. So sad he's innocent. We don't carry through. Well, but why, Ambrea, why don't we carry through? Because you see, civil rights carried through, right? The suffragettes voting women's rights carried through. So where have you all gone where you don't think we carry through? In 100 years, in the 20th century, we carried through. Why are you like throwing in the fucking, your hat and going, fuck it. It's no matter what I do, it doesn't matter. That's a defeatist attitude. Defeatist. And I'm not going to put you on the line, but I'm going to say to you something that you should ask yourself. It's not over till your last breath. Not your personal goals to buy a house, to get a master's, to start a business, to get the career you want, the man or woman you want. It's not over till your last breath. It's never over. And so if in 100 years window, which was the 20th century, we were able to accomplish all this, this is the beginning of the 21st century, we better get off our asses and start moving. How are you so sure he was innocent? Did you sit on the jury who convicted him? There he has. Let me put it this way, ma'am, Mrs. Brooks. They refused to even have black jurors in the trial. Did you know that, my friend? That sounds like 1940s. That sounds like Jim Crow shit. And how do I know? Because the fucking prosecuting team tried to stop the execution, as did the family of the victim. That's how I know. Or are you just reading the newspapers that are like feeding you what you want to hear? Is that what you're doing? Reading your why don't you read what they're saying about us in England? Why don't you read about what they're saying about this trial in Ireland, in France, in Italy? And then you'll know. Because you're not asking the right questions. Here, I bet you don't even know. Let me ask you a question. Who was the Mrs. Brooks? Who was the youngest person that ever was executed in the United States? Do you even know that? Do you even know your own history, Mrs. Brooks? George Steiny Jr. is considered the youngest person to be executed in the United States. At the age of 14, he weighed 90 pounds. And he was innocent. They ended up finding the guy who did it. And he confessed. Okay? Mrs. Brooks. So now that you got a quick education, I'll be blocking you. I don't have time for bullshit. And by the way, you don't argue too much with bullshit. You move on. That's why we have a problem. Because this is gaslighting. This is similar to what you just saw with Mrs. Brooks is a child, a 14-year-old girl saying, your boyfriend did this and that to me, and Mrs. Brooks would say, well, prove it. I think you asked for it. Whatever. Okay, I'm going to be straight up. That kind of narcissism is what we have to cut at the root. We have to, because it is not helping us. It is the kind of denial. Who said racism doesn't exist? I forgot who it was. Oh, yeah, that chick that was... who was she? I forgot. Nikki. What was her name? Nikki Haley, whatever. Racism doesn't exist. And then wrote a book about how racism was part of her life growing up. Because her father was a Sikh. Yeah. Thank you. Forever. Blocked her too. Please, just... right? So racism affects every human being. Black, white, red, purple, polka dot, I don't give a shit. Every human being is affected by it. There are people who suffered, who loved opposite races, who were not allowed to marry in this country. And it created generational trauma. When you see injustice, when you see a human being, I don't care what color, white, black, polka dot, any color, fuck the color right now. Let's talk about just abuse of power. When we see a human being who is being abused, and we know it's unjust, it makes you sick. And it actually lowers your frequency to thrive. In other words, what harm happens to other people, if you see it, if you hear about it, let me put it that way. I'll give it to you in a context you can understand. You know how you feel when you hear of someone you don't know who suddenly passed away in a car accident. It hits you. And it's even worse when it's somebody who unalivened themselves. Oh my God, it hits you. Like, why? How old was she? How old was he? What happened? How did it happen? Because you have empathy. You care about human beings. So though you will never meet them, you never knew them, just hearing about it, hearing that your friend had her brother who unalivened themselves, right? That hits you hard. So when we see, so add injustice to that mix of a sudden impromptu, a death, a life stolen like this. Yeah, that fucking totally impacts your ability to thrive, to wake up in the morning, enjoy. And you might say, well, what can we do? I would say to you, don't laugh. I would say to you, meditate, pray. Get your nervous system in check. Chant. Breathe. Do breathing exercises. And visualize a planet, a country that does not allow injustice. Is it possible? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because this planet had a time where people lived in harmony. And it wasn't the Adam and Eve story, okay? There are a lot of things you're being asked of you by God, the universe. You need to catch up and start reading and realizing that many things that we were told was true were lies to keep us spiritually, emotionally, and physically chained to dogmatic lies. And race and racism was part of the mix because you see, the ancient Romans had slaves from all over the world, as you well know, right? Race was not the issue in slavery because all kinds of people were enslaved. It was just, you lost the war, you're now my slave. That was it. It was that simple. But what was created here? Yeah, that's really some toxic, sick shit. Really toxic, sick shit. And that's why this man, his life was ripped out of his grasp. Even the prosecutor in his case petitioned the court to reverse the penalty. Everyone knew he was innocent. We've had two people on this live tell us, Kumbaya, we're so happy he's gone, justice has been served. Do you understand we're dealing with minds that are, I don't know, because Forrest Gump had a good heart. So I'm not going to say, but remember his IQ in the movie Forrest Gump? 70 IQ. But he was a good man. Remember how good and sweet he was? So I'm not going to say they're stupid. I'm going to say they're evil. It has nothing to do with intelligence. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with evil. There are people walking the planet who are just pure ass evil, and you're not. So when you ask me, who can we trust? Well, I'm sure you trust yourself. Do you trust me? Do you trust the people who are, right now, there are teenage people, teenage girls and boys crying over this man right now as we speak. Can we trust them? Because I will. Let's not be so quick to think that human beings can't be trusted. Let's discern the difference between pure evil and goodness. And goodness is what's in your heart. And to be honest with you, if I were you, right? And you're seeing the comments of really good people right now, I'd follow them. You know why? Because you just asked me, who can we trust? Well, they're here, right here. The people you can trust are right here, right now, making comments. God bless his soul. They killed an innocent man. Go ahead, follow them. Start racking up people who care about the planet, about human beings, who are against racism and homophobia. Okay? Start. They are programmed. Any updates? He's gone, my friend. He passed away. You got many good people. You got 39 good people here. A lot of them left. Why? Because, they're just here to be entertained. Feel like Maximus. Are you entertained? Are you entertained? Are you entertained? Is this entertainment? When are we going to learn that we better stick together? Because the reason why he's gone is because of racism. I'm angry. Don't make sure it's righteous anger, my love. People who care about human decency. I'm angry. Awareness. Exactly. So follow each other. Create tribes of people. In other words, follow each other right now. Those of you who are loving each other right now, follow each other. Create a Telegram page, a WhatsApp page. Follow each other. So you know that you've got a person in Ireland, a person in North Dakota, a person in Peru, wherever, however, who you can trust because you saw how good they were in being open and honest and loving in this particular life. For example, in lives like this. There'll be other lives where you'll see people who are really loving and empathic. Instead of being lonely and being bereft, and surrounded like a Twilight Zone movie with people who are cold, who are so lobotomized by different pharmas that they can't even fathom having compassion for someone, and they actually believe everything they fucking read. And yet they'll believe what they read, but they won't believe the fact that on paper Reuters said he was innocent. Humanity, let's go. Marcellus needs us. Minnesota, it was the Missouri governor. Yep. I couldn't leave a voicemail. His voicemail was, humanity stand up. So there's okay, you guys, I want you to pay attention. I want you to write this down. Write it down, okay? Please, right now, write it down. Ready? Okay. I want you to follow Sasha Stone, The Lazarus Project. Lazarus, as in Yeshua. Lazarus on YouTube. The Lazarus Project. Sasha Stone. Did you get that? Sasha with an S, right? All S's. Stone, like a stone. The Lazarus Project. Okay? And look him up. Because he's a lion. He's a lion. And he might or might not know about him. Marcellus is gone, BGM TV. Okay? Any other questions or comments? Okay? Any questions or comments? I know I'm very hurt. I know. Okay? You need to really ask yourself, what do you think should be done? Because hitting the streets and writing is not the way. It isn't the way, my friends, at all. We've done it before. We've done it for hundreds of years, and it was a temporary fix. We want a long-term fix. What is the long-term fix? The new earth. How do we do it? We visualize and meditate, and we chant or pray, whatever the hell you want. But you don't pray for yourself. You pray for the collective. You pray for a new planet. You pray for the new earth. You pray for good, honest, loving leaders. You're welcome, Cody. Writing is not the only way. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's temporary. They want you to write, don't you see? They actually want you to do it. They're actually picking a fight with their own American citizens. Don't you see that? Don't be played. You've never played poker? It's a bluff. Have you ever played chess? Don't do it. What you want to do is read books that show you how people have dissolved inoperable cancer. Why is that important? Because if you can heal your body From inoperable cancer, you can change the planet. Don't you see what they've been teaching us this for the last 50 years? They've been spoon feeding us knowledge on how to transform reality from one reality to another. Don't you get it? If you don't, learn it. Because millions of people have dissolved inoperable cancer through meditation and through visualization. So if we can do that with cellular systems that are toxic, then that means we can actually change the planet into something that really is right and just for everyone. I hope you understand that. This is science, what I just said. This is not kumbaya and New Age shit. Not at all. It's actually science. So let's use science, let's use spiritual science, mental science to change the trajectory of these leaderships into the kind of leaders that we deserve. And we certainly don't deserve that. This man, Marcellus, did not deserve his governor. And we don't deserve the leaders we have. It's not going to accomplish anything. They want us to crash out. Exactly. No, it's not a bluff. Asking somebody for something don't work, so you fight. You don't ask for anything from people who don't want to give it to you. Don't you see that? Let me explain. You don't ever fight the wall. You dissolve the wall through thought form. Thought become matter. You better go explore my page and look at the shit I'm reposting. Go on my YouTube and read part 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Mind Power into the 21st Century. Stop playing the game that has failed us for 3,000 years. Stop doing that. It doesn't work. It works for a minute and then it collapses back to the old toxic machine. Because, I've been a warrior. I'd love to do that. There's a part of me that wants to totally channel my Sarah Connor. Don't think I fucking don't feel what you're feeling. But I know that this is the challenge that we are being asked by God. Free will, my friend. Play at their hand, hit the streets, riot, or dissolve the wall with thought form. Trump hasn't said shit. Very true, the U.S. needs to show respect to William family by speaking to his family. Trump, Kamala, they all had an opportunity to say something. Right now, it's 8:34 p.m. in the East Coast. What are they dining on? What are they discussing? What cocktail party are they at? What's Kamala doing? I just saw Kamala speaking and she sounded drunk. So apparently she drinks. Is Joe Biden bumping into walls? Is Trump talking to his attorneys? I'm honestly heartbroken. They worried about Diddy. Fuck Diddy. The president could have pardoned him. The president could have pardoned him. If he didn't have dementia. Sorry. We have, do you understand? When you have power like this and you purposely don't allow injustice, right? If you purposely it's almost like they actually purposely allowed this to happen to pick a fight with us. Don't do it. Don't do it. You better start learning how to use the mind power that you were given in many incarnations. You better learn that shit. Because if you play into their hands, you will be incarcerated. Just wake the fuck up, okay? Wake the fuck up. Because unless you're a badass, you won't last a week doing that method. However, you can hone your skills with your mind, using your heart chakra and your mind, your third eye. Learn. If you don't know what I'm talking about, learn. You fucking wake up and learn. And now you have power. An egregore, if you don't know what an egregore is, learn. Learn. An egregore is when a collective mind can create an energy that is so powerful that it becomes its own entity, good or evil. Did you hear me? Do you understand? And the 1% has used egregore energy for multiple reasons for thousands of years. Thousands. They are aligning their last-ditch efforts to enforce on a world order. Thank you. He most likely was very wise. They don't like... Yeah. He most likely was very wise. They don't like that, like you said. Exactly. And Diddy is a distraction. And Diddy is showing us, because there were black, white people at his parties, all kinds of different races and religious beliefs in his parties, in his freakouts. This is actually excellent, because you're getting to see that the 1% is not in... Again, I'm telling you, the 1% would marry outside their race and do, as long as you're evil, as long as you are on their agenda. They don't care what race you are, if you have the frequency of evil. Why would they do Eyes Wide Shut and destroy, and suddenly the Stanley Kubrick, the director, who had a contract in all his movies that you cannot do final edits, it is mine. So, of course, they made sure, boom, boom, bye-bye, because he died like 3 weeks after the wrapping of the movie, and they cut out 24 minutes. I think it was either 22 or 20, very critical minutes, apparently, about the 1%. Yeah. Okay? Energy siphoning. Yes. I want to know why the entire board of 23andMe stepped down. Yes. Well, I think you know why, my love. He knows something we didn't. Now, listen to her, Renee. I want to know why the entire board of 23andMe stepped down. Because you and I both know. There was a book called Biotech Century. Biotech Century. My French Parisian friend gave it to me in I believe it was 19, hang on, my son, 2003 or thereabouts. And that book talked about how they were patenting organisms. Patents of, in other words, patenting, copywriting, organisms in virgin forests. And they were looking to do that with human DNA. Watch movies like Gattaca. Watch movies like Equilibrium, where you're not allowed to have emotions. Fuck The Handmaid's Tale. That's like Mary Poppins shit compared to Equilibrium and Gattaca. Well, you'll need to have a license to have a baby. Okay? This man's sacrifice is to get the light bringers to see beyond skin color. We are one soul energy. They have been seeking a bloodline. Yes, they have. Very similar to, I made the analogy yesterday, very similar to when the Pharaoh looked for Moses and went on a, spree of all the newborns, firstborns. Remember newborns, actually. Guess what? Apparently they're doing it again. There's a lot of interesting energy. And when I look at Marcellus's eyes, Williams' eyes right now, and I look at this incredible, how can you look like that 24 years in jail? How can you have eyes like that being 24 years in jail? He was 55 today. He was 55 today when they ripped his life out of his hands. 24 years, and you end up with eyes like this? Like this? Look at his eyes. Would you have eyes like this 24 years behind bars and being innocent? He being Muslim, the name for him, for God, because God of the one who created us all, the one of 1,000 names, Allah came for him. And hopefully he'll understand how God of 1,000 names is God of 1,000 names. Names we have long forgotten, religions we have long forgotten over the course of times. What, you think religion is only 2,000 years old? Come on now. So he is the poster child of change, because I don't think we should allow one more capital punishment during our lifetime ever again. Very sad. He found source inside of himself. There's nothing you can do but think. Exactly. with access to so much DNA, they can develop bioweapons that are efficient. They have been seeking bloodlines. Yes. No, it's not bioweapons, my friend. I don't believe that. It's the ability to clone worker bees. Your homework, if you really want to understand, is to read the book Brave New World, which, by the way, they stopped. Did you guys ever go to college or high school? I read that book in high school. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Did you ever read that book? Because when Aldous Huxley wrote it, I believe it was 1920s, late 1920s, early 30s. When he was interviewed in 1959, he said, I thought I was writing a science fiction. I had no idea we were getting that close to it. And that was in 1959. So my question to you is, what the fuck was he saying? Because I didn't see it in 1976. I didn't see it in 1986. I started seeing it in 1996, though. What did he see? So you can see it. You can see it in his eyes something is wrong. Oh, wow. You can see it in his eyes something is wrong. I don't see anything wrong. I see absolute surrender and peace is what I see in his eyes. I see gentleness, peace, surrender, trust in the divine. That's what I see. You know what I mean? That's what I see. I don't see that anything is wrong. He feels peace coming from him as well. Exactly. There's a point that takes amazing bravery, courage, however you want to talk about it. When you are in this position and your soul develops to this kind of purification. Okay? Okay? I feel like he knew this was his mission here. You know what? I fucking agree with you. 100% agreed. When I see this picture, I thought, wow, he looks so at peace. Exactly. What are we learning from this incredible soul that gave up 25 years of his life? Who was a robber? Now, let's go back because we're very good at judgmental bullshit. Have you guys read the book Les Miserables, The Miserables? Remember? Jean Valjean, he stole a loaf of bread to feed his family and went to jail for 25 years. I am not condoning stealing, especially stealing into people's houses. But I will say this. Is our system really working? Has our system ever really worked? Why is it that we're finding out that certain immigrants are getting a massive amount of money on their EBT card and people who are homeless are getting $48 a month for food? Well, how do I know that? Because I knew someone who actually was homeless who had $48 on his food card. And when I asked him, why did that happen? Because I was giving him money on the streets. He said, because they said I was homeless and I didn't have to pay rent. Do you see the level of thinking on these bureaucratic idiots who won't think, who won't even refuse? They're all lobotomized because they're afraid of losing their pension. When we own people through various levels of fear, like P. Diddy, great example. If you don't do this, you don't get this. He coerced people through fear. He blackmailed, bullied, intimidated people through fear. Well, in a sense, that's what many people go under when they go to a welfare office. They're bullied. They're intimidated. They're afraid. Do you know that if you don't have an ID, you don't get shit? And you're going to see a lot of people begging for food and money. They don't have an ID because somebody else stole their bag, their belongings. So now there's no ID, no birth certificate, nothing. So my point is this guy, Marcellus, who just passed away about an hour and 30 minutes ago, whose soul is traveling through many levels of light, meaning through the realms of light bringers, angelic light beings, high-level souls, avatars, masters who are there to help him because for him to get that gaze that you're seeing right now in this picture, for him to attain this level of peace, he has ascended. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. That is a man who ascended past the prison bars and the injustice that he was victimized. Meanwhile, the governor's a success, because he's a governor. Successful man, has a car, house, all the trappings, but he's evil. Clearly, no empathy, totally evil. Oprah is evil. There's a lot of people that are evil. P. Diddy is my God, debauched evil. There's a lot of evil people. And we who are of the light need to stick together. We need to find each other, claim each other, follow each other. And when they pull the plug on TikTok in January of next year, we better know where we are for each other. Telegram. By the way, they arrested him. Did you know that? You know that, right? In Paris, they arrested him, the founder of Telegram. More blackmail, more intimidation, more bullshit. We better follow each other in however way we can, while we still can, before the curtains drop. Okay? Let me go get in the mic. Agree, when I see this picture, okay, I feel like he knew, okay. Agree, when I see this picture, I thought, he looks at me, may I join you? Angie, do you want to join? Do you have I can have you guys talk and join. Yeah, we can totally have a conversation. Maybe that he's seeing, okay, what he was seeing, I'm not saying he was sad, but reflection of something he sees. Well, he was seeing, he had surrendered. I read the book by Eckhart Tolle, Practicing the Power of Now. And one of the stories he talked about was a man who was facing, he was a Hell's Angel, Hell's Angel, if I recall correctly. A big burly white guy, big burly, tattoos, the whole thing. And he said, I'm no longer incarcerated, I am free. Because he had done a series, he was in a level of surrender and peace. And he was meditating every day and contemplating and journaling and talking to other men who had long prison sentences and some, of course, life. But he had decided that he was free and that he was going to take the fate of his incarceration as an opportunity to purify his soul. That's what he said. I'm paraphrasing. It's making people open their eyes to corruption. People are asking how many more are in these positions. Exactly. I say, Marcellus, I say to you, rise. Let me get on the mic. Fantastic book. Yes. Practicing the Power of Now. Going to school, I felt so sick. I was disassociating like crazy, and I didn't know why. Now I know why. Yes, okay, Grace, perfect. Let me repeat what she said. Going to school today, I felt so sick. I was disassociating like crazy and didn't know why. Now I know why. What happens when you are an empath, when you are a light bringer? You will feel the destruction of human beings, and it will hit you in the root chakra, sacral, hurrah, your solar plexus, and bang, right into your heart. And you will feel sick. That's why what's happening to Marcellus is hitting you. That's why injustice, it's a butterfly effect. It's a domino effect. And that's why it hits you, okay? And when you realize that this isn't being done under your dime, it affects you. I'll be back later, okay? Does that make sense? That's why this is happening to you, Grace. It's because you're empathic, okay? And so you need to understand how to manage your power to feel. Because when like, for example, what's going on with Gaza, what's going on to the West Bank, all of that shit, believe it or not, if you're having nightmares, like brutal visions or hits, it's because you're actually picking up on the energies of the despair of people. When it could be also what's happening in Afghanistan with the women. It could be also what's happening in Congo and the brutalization. 48 women per day get raped per day. Okay? Yeah. So what's happening here is that for us to claim our humanity and our heart, we have to demand, let's start with capital punishment being outlawed. Let's start with lobbyists who are actually working not for us. Lobbyists handing money over to our senators, pushing things that are against our good, for our best. Like today, I was listening to a man, Mind Valley. You guys know who the guy Mind Valley is? I forgot his name, but Mind Valley, right? And he said that the bread we have in America is outlawed around the world. The ingredients they use to make American bread is outlawed around the world. They wouldn't serve it in Russia, in Europe, in the UK, in around the world. Outlawed. So there's a lot of weird things going on against us as a people. Right? And yeah. Any other questions or comments? Where are your hearts with this? Who else? Not just bread, but yeah, all kinds of our food. Yeah, absolutely, Renee. All kinds, but let's just start with bread, because what do we do for our kids? We make them tuna fish sandwich, peanut butter, right? Jelly sandwich. We give our kids bread, right? So it's not good, huh? No bueno. So that's a beginning. But with what we're dealing with this beautiful soul that just dropped his body, I would ask you to take a votive, a white votive, or a white candle, or pink candle. Nothing dark, nothing crazy. Just try to find something and light it and pray over it or meditate over it to make sure that his journey is good. Now, I'm going to do something very strange that you may think is strange, but it's not so strange. I'm going to pull out 3 cards from the Starseed Oracle deck to see where he's at in his journey. I'm not kidding, okay? Are you guys okay with me doing that? Because I want to know where he's at in his journey, okay? I want to know where he's at in his journey, because this is fucking insane. Okay? Okay? So I'm going to pull out, and it's from the Starseed Oracle deck. And the question, I'm looking at his eyes right now, and I'm going to shuffle. And I want to know where he's at. Why you pray for a convicted murderer. Okay, hillbilly. And of course you're called a hillbilly. That's funny. All right, my friend. Goodbye. Bye-bye. We're good. All right, so thank you. Can you imagine? Bloody hell. Where do they come from? Where do they come? This is the racist, the racism, the ignorance, the evil that pervades our. They have a bigger voice than you. That's the problem. The fact that these evil minds, okay, they have a bigger voice than you because you're not loud enough. You're timid. And you better stop being timid. It's not going to fix itself. So I'm going to ask where he's at in his journey. I'm going to ask. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to tell you what I read in the order I got it. Okay. Let me see. Okay. It's saying you're not for everyone. Erasing him off the screen. Lol. Good. How are you sure that he did it? Oh no, I wouldn't even, you don't talk to people like that, Letty. I'm being very straight up. Like, I did it after a couple times. It's as stupid as telling somebody why reincarnation exists. Don't bother. It's a waste of time. So the first card that came up is you're not for everyone. Face your true north. Did you hear that? Face your true north. Why is this important? You're not for everyone. Well, because honestly, one of the reasons why the governor decided to continue with the execution was because, and we better face this truth, okay? Because he was a black man. And also, he was told by some powers. So you're not for everyone. Embrace yourself. Face your true north. Second card, called. Listen to this. Called. Soul gifts and training. It's time to step up. Do you see his eyes? He did a lot of work for those 24 years. I don't have a profile picture. I'm not a bot. I'm just private. That's fine, Joe. I'm not asking, but it's good. All right. So called soul gifts and training. It's time to step up. In the last card is you're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, community. He's being helped. I did this Such a beautiful soul. Absolutely. Let me see another card for him. Star Brothers. Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, trust. He's in good hands. Horus energy. You know Horus, right? Egyptian, right? Protection, loyalty, safety, trust. He's fine. He's fine. He crossed over. We did a 2-minute, it was almost a 3-minute meditation of silence while he was being executed, and he's fine. And so before you guys go to bed tonight, let me give you another throw. I want to see what else they have to say. The next 3 cards are the courageous Peony, multifaceted, unique nature, yet let yourself be seen. Do you see his eyes? Let yourself be seen. Baby steps, action, follow your intuition before it makes sense. So he trusted blindly in God. In his case, he would have called God Allah. Same entity, different name. Do you have nicknames? I have a nickname. I have a few nicknames. God is God is God. There's no such thing as my God. It's God. Period. End of story. Let's stop the divide and conquer. Baby steps, action, follow your intuition before it makes sense. This is what he did. You can see it in his eyes. Empathic starseed, energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. Energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. There was a movie called The 7 Signs with Demi Moore. Do you remember that movie? The 7 Signs, I believe it's called, or okay, your name. It's funny how you guys actually are so obvious. Hustle 24. It's funny how you guys come up with these names that really actually say a lot about your character. It's actually quite funny. It says a lot. It says a lot. Trump has nothing to do with that. Trump has nothing to do with that, my friend. Letty, block him, please. Because I'm trying to block him, and for some reason, I don't understand. It's not letting me. All right. The 7th Sign. Yes. That movie, watch the movie. Because you know what happens in the movie? They take a person with Down syndrome. Down syndrome. Down syndrome. You heard it. They take that person and they execute him. It's in the movie. Watch the movie The 7th Sign. Watch the movie The 7th Sign with Demi Moore. Excellent movie. Excellent. If you're a Christian, you should watch it. You should watch it. And in that movie, they execute a person with Down syndrome, and it creates a fucking domino effect. Spiritually speaking, no one's harmed. It's pretty amazing. So I'm going to do a healing mantra. I'm being shown. Because we fucking need it. There's a book called, okay, so you guys, I need you guys to where's it at Love? I want to watch it. Oh, it should be on Netflix. Demi Moore, here, Google it. You're better off Googling it. Google it, Autumn, and put 7 Sign Demi Moore or 7 Seal Demi Moore movie, right? And it should come up in Netflix or it should come up on Amazon. Definitely watch it. You're going to love it. There's a book I'd like you guys to buy because you're going to need it. Because shit's going to get real. Sometimes people are symbolism of what's to come. You're welcome. What I mean by that is, here is one man of many who has been sacrificed, right? We have seen over 200,000 people sacrificed in the West Bank and Gaza. Mostly women and children. I'm having dinner with my family, but again, thank you so much for this live. I'll be back later. Beautiful. And there's a book I need you to buy. It's called Healing Mantras. Write it down. Healing Mantras by Thomas Ashley Farrand. Farrand. Okay? And that book is going to give you Sanskrit mantras that you fucking need, because this shit is So I'm going to read to you storing karma, working with karma. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, okay? We're going to talk about that. And why am I saying that? Because when people are filled with such hate, as Hillbilly and Cowboy Dillil and all these weirdos, when you've got the prosecution team and the family of the victim trying to stay execution, when you have people that ignorant, karma is a bitch. And in the 21st century, it comes in. And so I'm going to read it to you. Storing karma. Karma is carried with us like baggage that we store in various parts of the body. For example, sanchita karma. All of our past actions and decision is stored in the soul. At the moment of our birth, a portion of the total karma is released into the physical body, and another portion goes into the subtle body. The rest of our total karma remains stored and will not come into play during this particular lifetime. The portion of sanchita, or past life karma, that have been released will be impressed through the network of neuron pathways that define the activity of our mind, brain, and our personality, as well as our physical body. Sanchita karma will also affect our birth situation, presenting us with a predisposition and an environment that will influence our habits, prejudices, and the development of talents, abilities we will use in this lifetime to work off a given portion of our karma. It means frequency attracts frequency. Reba McEntire has a song I forgot to name about innocent men being killed by a judge not caring. Type it in and I'll read it out loud so that people can hear. As we go through life, the people we encounter or circumstances we are met with will trigger individual bits of karma, releasing them and bringing them into play. When this happens, we're presented with an opportunity to work off that particular portion of our karma. Let's say, for instance, that something bad happens and you are fired from a job, contract, a serious illness, or lose a lover. One person may become depressed or discouraged, while another person facing those same circumstances may remain positive or become even more determined to overcome the obstacle. This man's life coming to an end, that is triggering you and your karma, because this injustice might be triggering a lot of shit you saw in past lives. You know, the witch hunts, the Christians at the circuses, right? And people being attacked for saying that the sun was the center of the universe, not the earth. You know, simple shit like that. And you might have seen injustices, like, you know, William Wallace. Remember William Wallace in Braveheart? Not everyone that went to public executions in the Middle Ages or in the French Revolution smiled and waved flags. Many wept, feeling impotent. And so this impotence that you might feel might be triggering a lot of these some scars that are coming up right now. Okay? Either person, however, will be working through his or her own particular karma. So what is the karma we're discussing about this man? It means that you don't have to worry about justice. When people fuck up, it doesn't matter how up they are. Look at P. Diddy. Karma. Karma. No matter how up, that governor will pay karma. Those people who lied will pay karma. Those people who didn't do their due diligence, the people who could have picked up the phone, pardoned them within a stroke of a pen. Remember Kamala Harris's famous words, with a stroke of my pen, who didn't do anything. Even apathy in the face of power, in other words, power to change the circumstances, even that has a karmic price to pay. No one gets out of that debt. You don't have to worry. Okay? All right? Mandatory. Also true. Mandatory made me cry. My mom told me about that song today. I sat in my car listening at 6. Wow. God said innocent bloodshed is unforgivable. You have the heart of a dragon. Oh, thank you. You know, I do actually. You're right. Working with karma. The word mantra derives from the Sanskrit word mana, or mind, and tre, to protect or to set free from. The literal meaning of mantra, therefore, is to be set free from the mind. Mantra is a mental tool that can release us from our conditioned mental habits and from the bondage of any predetermined life circumstances. The journey from mantra to freedom is rewarding and wondrous. It takes you beyond the static and status of everyday thought into the fundamental essence and oneness of consciousness. When you looked at Epstein, Weinstein, did you think for 1 second that they would ever think they were going to pay karma? Do you think the people who just perpetrated this would ever think that they will pay karma? Karma is something you can actually sit back and relax. Sometimes, if you're supposed to see it, sometimes the energies of the world and the universe will access. This person needs to see karma unfold, and you will watch karma unfold. Some of us might not be there to see it for various reasons, but for some reason, the universe will have you turn on the channel or look at something and you'll go, holy fuck. And you'll realize that injustices are righted, are cleared. He's fine. Marcellus is fine. The people who did this are not. The people who wished him harm, wow, don't even worry about them. Don't worry, because they're not going to do too well. Karma comes in various ways. Loss of jobs, massive illness, loss of the most important person in their life. Karma's a bitch. She's a bitch. She's a woman. The law of karma also includes the idea of grace, whereby negative karma may be forgiven by divine authority or even taken on by someone else in order to serve some higher purpose. Did you hear that? A most compelling example of this occurs in the New Testament, in which Yeshua is said to have been taking on the collective sins of humanity. But the idea of taking on karma is by no means restricted to divine personages or religious figures. Did you ever think P. Diddy would be in jail offering $75 million and it denied? That's karma. That's how karma works. Because 10 years ago, if he wouldn't have even had to offer 20 million and it would have been approved. Everyone, if you don't like country music, please listen to The Night of the Lights Went Out in Georgia. Poor guy, for imagine not doing something, telling you, okay, I'm sorry. Exactly. Good or bad, true. And the same thing can happen to their children, grandchildren. Actually, let me explain something to you, Autumn. This is really interesting. Now, what you're saying is true. In the old days, that was true. Now, again, remember, I'm a professional psychic. I do this for a living. Now, karma is hitting the person directly, not the children, not the grandchildren. That is no longer true at all. What is happening with karma is if you fuck up, you will be fucked up by karma, period. And it won't happen to your kid. What will happen is that you will get hit. And if you don't make amends, right? If you don't get the message by universe, at that point, karma will keep hitting you. And then it will hit one of your kids. But before, it would wait 100 years, 200 years. You know what I'm saying? It would wait until you incarnate it again and again. But not now. It hits you within... I've noticed within, like, say, a year to 18 months, you're hit by it. That's why you got to be very careful what you want. If you wish harm on people, oh my God. And we just saw 3 people come on this live and wish harm on this man and say, good riddance. Well, my friend, good riddance, holy shit. Drink up that poison. Highly evolved spiritual teachers have assumed the karmic burdens of others willingly. The great sage Paramahansa Yogananda once visited a place in India where elephantism was widespread. When he began to exhibit all the symptoms of the disease, Yogananda simply said he was doing his part. Karma is, you can't quantify. It's probably something that you might actually see in your incarnation. I like to think Creator embodies a divine feminine energy, love, karma, comfort, and justice. It embodies the yin and the yang of a divine masculine and divine feminine, to be honest. Yeah, the person that heard my channel went from looking 25 to 63 overnight. Yeah, there you go. Can someone listen to me? I don't know what that means. So I just wanted to do this live while I knew his life was being taken out. I wanted to do a 2-3 minute silence moment, which many of you stayed with me to do. And in honor of him, I want to listen to anything else you have to say, and then I will stop this live. And I will do another live to talk about something more in line with what is the message for you on the collective, because I don't want to disrespect his soul. His eyes say it all. And if a person can't hear and see the beauty and the peace in his eyes, then I don't know. Because usually people who are psychopath, you can see it directly in their eyes. Every time, no matter what. Okay? Does anybody have any questions or comments? So I'm gonna respect that. So I'm gonna end the live, and I'm gonna go back on the live and kind of switch the pace, because now I want to know what is the message for us as a collective, and what's the next move. Okay? I don't want to do this for entertainment. I did it out of respect for him while he was passing. Thank you. I appreciate that, Renee. And thank you very much. So give me like 5 minutes. Okay. And let me jump back on. And then we'll do a proper live about us and where we're going moving forward. Okay. All right. Namaste. Give me 5 minutes. Love you all. I'll be back.